Okay, I'm going to start now. In the event that you miss part of the stream, it'll be archived for later, so don't worry. This stream's going to be about brush workflow and get to the chopper kismet logic. So I'm going to go to a new level, midday. So brushes can be found, as an example, in developer, basic tests, basic testing, DG. Come on. There we go. So the ground, these walls here, the stairs, and the water slide, these are all made out of brushes. And if you go into wireframe mode by clicking this or Alt-1, you can see these blue things here, and these are brushes. You can also see this here. This is your light mass importance volume. That is a brush volume. And they're both technically the same thing, but when you call something a brush versus a brush volume, a brush is something, it's a piece of geometry that you can actually visually see, sort of like this. Whereas a brush volume is something that has an actual function, like your light mass importance volume controls how much detail light mass will attribute to your static meshes, whether it's inside or outside the light mass importance volume. There's also, I think we have a brush volume. Where is it? It's one of these here. This is a post-process brush volume. So whenever you're inside it, it'll play whatever you have overridden inside of it. So you can make a cool underwater effect that way. Then we also have a volume here for water. So if anyone's ever inside this volume, they'll be swimming, and they'll play the swimming animations. And so the reason why I bring this up is you don't normally want to build your final level out of brushes, because they have some problems. They don't call things properly. They can have some performance issues, unlike the source engine, where you're going to be using brushes all the time. But it's really, really good to prototype your map using brushes, especially if you're going to be doing anything that's heavily indoors. Now, if your environment's just going to be something like Forest Chasm, where it's just mostly landscape, foliage, and rocks, you might not want to use brushes, because it's just sort of a waste of time. But if you're ever making a map like a lab map, and a lot of people are talking about making a lab map, it's a really, really good idea to start with brushes. And here's why. So you might think, okay, I'm going to make a lab map, so I'm going to go into bunker, load the package. I'm going to bring in a wall here, and I'm just going to start building my wall, because I know what I'm doing and I'm cool. Turn on the grid here. So I'm just going to start building my wall and being all cool. Start to make a hallway here. And while this might seem to work as a starting point for making your map, it's very, very difficult. You're going to spend a lot of time tediously placing all these walls and getting them to line up correctly, which can be difficult. Now, the reason why I use this wall is because, unlike a lot of our other assets, this wall will actually conform to a 16-unit grid. If I were to bring out another mesh like, let's see, concrete building. Yeah, that works. I think this is one. So I currently have a 16-unit grid turned on. So if I copy and paste that and move it over. Oh, that one actually works too. Let me find another example. Ah, here we go. So here's a nice looking concrete wall. Copy it, move it over. Oh wow, that worked properly too. What the hell? Why is everything suddenly working for me today? This never happens. Surely this won't work. Okay, here's an example. Okay. Wow, no, that... Well, for some reason, every mesh that I am putting in somehow properly works in the grid system. The point is several meshes don't. A lot of meshes, you'll try putting them together on a 16-unit grid, and they won't quite line up correctly. For some reason, all of these meshes are. And so you're going to have a problem easily creating a hallway or something where all the meshes line up properly and getting something looking nice. And so a good thing to do instead of tediously placing all of your meshes so everything lines up properly is to build your level out of brushes and then replace them with static meshes. Because otherwise you're going to be sitting here all day making your level look like this, for starters. And then you might get in there you might spend hours and hours making your layout with these meshes here, and then you realize that I'm going to spawn in. What the hell? Oh, my spawn point's inside. Whoops. So after working for hours to get your layout, you might come in and then realize that your T-Rex is a little too small or a little too big for the hallway. And now you have to redesign the whole thing. And you got to start all over, and that sucks. So what can be done much faster is building your entire level out of brushes, which is what I'm going to do now. So if you press the B key, or it might just be there already, you have this thing right here called the builder brush. And when working with brushes, you always want to make sure you work on a high grid size when you're starting out. 64 or 128 are pretty good sizes. And you can move this thing around, and this is not an actual brush, but this is just your sort of builder helper tool. And you can click this button right here and click the edges and bring them out like so. Raise that up there. Bring it back here. And if you click this button right here, or Control A, you can add your brush. Why didn't that work? Oh, because I pressed Alt Q, that's why. Go ahead and delete one of those brushes then. Delete. And then if you bring your builder brush out here, rotate it around, do Control A again, and Control A again, bring it around again. Control A. And you can see really quickly you can build the structure that you want without sitting there and tediously placing 500 meshes until you get the layout you want. Bring that back over there. Control A. Now that we've done that, we can delete you because we don't need you anymore. Wait, what did I just do? There we go. And so along with that, you can also modify existing brushes. If you want to do that, you're going to want to go into Brush Wireframe mode or Alt-1. And I'm going to delete the sky here so it's not in my way. And for now, I'm going to delete my light mass importance volume. So you can click on this, and while you still have this selected, you can come in here and move this around. And then you can also, just like a mesh, Control V, Bring it out again. And so you might, when you go back into lip mode, you might notice it's still like that. If you ever make a change to an existing brush, you have to rebuild geometry or BSP with that button right there. Now we have our little hole. So I'm going to extend this out into here. I'm going to click on this one, bring it out here. And because this one's intersecting and I don't like that, bring that out here, bring this over here. Good, 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 good. Build BSP. And there we go. So we've made 2 rooms now in a very, very short amount of time. And another thing you can do is you can also use subtract instead of add. So let's say I have my big doorway here and I want a smaller doorway, right here. So I'm going to get my builder brush back. Bring it over to here, down here. For some reason it doesn't let me change the top. That's strange. What happened? It's very strange. I'm going to redo it. If you right click on this little button right here, you can reset your builder brush to wherever your pivot tool currently is. So we're going to go 128, 256, 256, build, and there we go. There's the size we're looking for. Bring you up. Oh, it's misaligned. We have to go down 1 in grid size. Oh, my mic's crackling. Oh, here, let me see if I can fix that. Alright, I plugged it back in. That should be better. Anyway, now that we have the brush where I want it, instead of pressing add, we're going to press subtract. And we can subtract from an existing brush. And inside wireframe mode, it'll look yellow instead of blue. So you can easily create doorways this way too. And just for symmetry purposes, I'm going to put one on the other side. Now we got 2 doorways on either side. And again, very, very quickly, you can just easily create the layout of some kind of interior that you want. So I'm going to make a kind of hallway now. And I'm going to create more doorways. Bring this out a little bit. To go to 64, bring that in, and copy it to the other side. Build BSP. There we go. Easy, easy, easy. And now, again, you don't want to use BSP for your final one, but if you're tired of looking at the checkered and you want something that looks a little nicer, you can apply any material you want to. So we're going to go to Wall, fully load the package. Let's use one of these brick walls right here. Let's see how that looks. That's not too bad. So you can just drag it in and apply one to each face that you like. So. And then we're going to do something for the floor. How about asphalt? Oh god, that's too tiled. Maybe this one? That didn't work. Oh, what just happened? Oh god, I thought I crashed. Let me save this. PC brush test. Let's try maybe this one. There we go. It looks bad too. Oh, maybe this one. There we go. Oops. Just gonna apply that here. Oh, forgot some of my wall. So I'm gonna apply that brick again. Here, 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 here. Okay. Getting tedious here. And there. Okay, good. So now I have that all set up. Now if you're wanting to build something a little more complicated than this, you don't really want to work in this kind of environment. You want to work on a grid. So if you hit Alt-X, you can get your grid here. So you have your 3D view, you have your top-down view, and you have your two side views. And so you can see that everything is nicely positioned along a grid. And so if you want to get something done really quickly, or if you want to just have a nice overview of what it is you're doing and make sure everything's nice and straight and perfect, it's really good to work in the grid view. And so if you click on the geometry tool again, you can come in, click on the two dots while holding Control, move it around, and you can see it changes in your 3D view. Rebuild geometry, and then we're going to click on the floor, two dots, bring it out, and we're going to bring this guy out, bring this guy back in because he's intersecting, bring this guy out, and copy this guy over, and bring that back in. Rebuild geometry. Now it's different for a lot of people. I personally prefer to work on the grid when it comes to brushes. Some people do not. It's really just personal preference. But for now I'm going to go back in here. And for now I'm going to rebuild lighting really quick. So now that we've done that, we're going to, real quick, add a spawn point. PC play, player start. That looks about right. out a little bit. Reveal paths. And we're going to hop in really quick. So as a human walking around, this feels pretty okay. The ceilings are a little too high, but if you're making a map that's going to have any Terras or T-Rexes in it, that's probably okay. T-Rexes obviously can't get through here, but they can get through here. So maybe I might want to have some doorways here and here, be tall enough for them to get through. We're going to try switching over to the T-Rex. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, they can kind of get through, but the top of the mesh looks like it clips a little bit, so I'm probably going to want to extend that up later. This is going to be a real map. Looks like that means you can get through here too. If I'm a Terra, it looks like they have plenty of room to fly around in, although they don't really have a good way of killing anybody. That's a separate issue for another time. But I'm running around, and this feels pretty good. I like it. So I'm going to add a ceiling. Oh, oops. It crashed. Oh, that's okay. Always save your map before playing an editor, because playing editor is probably the most crashing thing. Ah. Alright, so I want my ceiling, so I'm just simply going to take this brush and copy it up. Oh, oops. Forgot to turn my grid on. Yeah, it lines up. Good. So now I have my interior. Probably going to need some lights, and honestly, I'm not going to worry about Terras right now, so I'm going to lower the ceiling. Oh, what happened? Whoa. Huh? That's weird. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to lower my ceiling down, just because it looks a little too tall for me. And then I'm also going to raise these guys up so the tyrants don't clip into them. Raise that guy up as well. Where's the other ones? Here they are. Build BSP. Very good. So now we have a shorter, more manageable ceiling going on here. Doesn't look too crazy anymore. Our doorways are now high enough for tyrants to get through, so we don't need to worry about that. Also, when it comes to brushes, you aren't limited to just brushes. There's a ton of things you can do here, so I guess I'll show you that real quick. So I'm going to it's still weirding me out. I'm not sure why that's happening. There we go. So I'm going to click on my floor here, bring this guy out to about there. Going to lower this down by a few more units. Good, and then lower my walls to the same height. And then copy my floor over down and down again. Rebuild BSP. Alright, so now I've created this sort of gap on the floor here, and so I'm going to want to make stairs. So I'm going to right click here, find my builder brush, and you can see that it's created some stairs for me. So I want to make sure this actually lines up properly. So we can see that the height's immediately wrong. So the height, as well, these steps are looking a little thick. I don't like the way those look. So we're going to have step height be 8. We're going to have step length be 16. And we're going to have the number of steps increase to maybe 16 or maybe 32. I'm going to go back into grid view so I can make sure this lines up properly. Another place for grid view is a lot better. So it looks like the height's correct, but I'm 1 off, so I'm going to need to lower my grid size. There we go. Oh, nope, 8. Okay, good. So step width I'm going to increase to 512. Rotate that back around again. Now for the record, when you're actually making your real map out of static meshes, I really don't recommend making actual stairs. Unless it's an actual stair mesh, but don't make stairs out of static meshes, because one, that's too many static meshes, and going up and down for anyone who has some high ping is going to look really bad. They're going to jar around a little bit. So now that I've done that, I'm going to up my grid size again and click add. And I'm going to create another one here. And another one here. Cool. Looks pretty good, except for the stairs themselves look a little crazy with the texture, but we don't care about that. And I'm not going to take the time to texture that because that would take forever. Going to rebuild lighting. So now that we have our ceiling on here, obviously it's very dark. Can't see in here, so we're going to add some lights. I'm going to add let me save first. Let's see, add actor, point light. Now when it comes to point lights, I don't recommend using them for any kind of ceiling lighting, like up here, because that doesn't look very good. Point lights are something that are usually complementary to spotlights, which is what I'm going to use. But I'm just putting a point light in here so I can see. But I'm going to go into the content browser, actor classes, type in light, and we're going to use a spotlight. There we go. So you're going to want to figure out what kind of lighting you want in the room, and just because it's a hallway with really long walls and short ceiling, I'm going to go with the spotlight. I'm going to delete this guy, bring this guy back here. Let's play around with this a little bit. Bring up F4. Now I want to be able to actually see the walls too, so I'm going to increase the cone size to maybe about 70 and the inner cone to maybe about 50. In fact, I can't see the wall very well, so maybe 80 and 60. So that works pretty well. It's a little dark though, so I'm probably going to increase the brightness to maybe a 3 there. Maybe even 2. Oh no, that works for me. Radius, 1280. We can also mess with our fall off. Something a little like that. And so I'm going to evenly space out my lights now. I'm going to go back into grid mode where I can easily see where my light is. Kind of move it to about right there. And you can actually line it up with your grid and just get some nice even spacing going on there. Instead of eyeballing it and having it look weird, we can make sure it's absolutely perfect. In fact, I'm now noticing looking at the grid that my lights are not in the complete center. The center is actually here for some reason, so I'm going to select all spotlight actors, move it more towards the middle, like that. I'm going to continue moving my lights up and aligning them on the grid. We're going to stop there for now. So now that I have my lights actually in here, it looked good before, but now that I have so many in this hallway, it's looking a little bright. The shadows are just kind of like square across the top. It doesn't look all that great to me, so I'm going to select all my spotlights and modify them all at once. We're going to lower the outer cone angle to 70, maybe even 60, and then lower this back to 40. Oh, that was too much. Let's go back up to 70 and 60. Maybe something a little more like that. Maybe raise them up a little bit to there. I'm going to lower this back to 1024, decrease my fall off, actually increase my fall off. Too much. And so we get some more interesting looking shadows there, but once again, I'm not really getting much of the top wall, so increase, then put that up to 60. So that doesn't look too bad. Not the biggest fan. I think the biggest problem is we've spaced them a little too closely. So I'm going to see if deleting every other light will help with that a little bit. Shadows are very important to your map looking good, and so getting some really nice shadowing going on is very important when it comes to your lights. So let's maybe go back to 70, no, 80, 50, 70. It's looking a little better. Still kind of weird to me, but we have these low ceilings, so it's kind of hard to do that. Let me try something else. Yep, you know what? That's what we're going to do. Doing them on the ceiling really wasn't doing it for me, so I'm going to put them on the wall. And that's looking way more interesting to me there. Gonna put it about right there. Good. So look at that shadow. That looks way nicer. Move this a little closer to the wall. I'm going to align it to my grid. So about there. I'm going to try spacing this along the grid as we did before. So it's looking pretty nice. And again, I might even try just doing that again, making sure we just do every other one instead of every one. One, because I'm lazy, and two, just because too many. You don't need that many. Alright, so we're good there. So I'm now going to copy them to the other side. Add them about that distance there. I'm going to go back to my grid and line them up properly. Good. Alright, so look at that shadows. That's a nice looming looking hallway. These sort of curved shadows kind of give it more of a creepy feel than what we had before. And I just find it generally more interesting than the top-down lighting. I'm going to raise this up a little bit. Yeah, I like that. Might play with the cone size a little more. I think we're getting too much of the ceiling up here. So maybe lower the cone size to a 70 and a 50. Yeah, there we go. Now we're gonna keep that fall off there. Maybe raise the radius to 1280. No, 1024. Raise the brightness up to like a 5. Actually, now where we had it was good. Maybe a 4. Looks pretty nice. Well, once we've done that, maybe we'll come down and modify the color a little bit. Give it sort of a blue twinge to it. It's looking a little cold. Maybe orange. There we go. Looks pretty nice. So now that we've done that, I'll worry about these other rooms some other time. But I'm going to fill in my main room. Let's see here. We'll line this up in the middle of the grid, about there. About that far away from the wall. Looks pretty good. We're going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to do it in here. About there and there. Put that back just a little bit. And then we're also going to run them along the back wall. About, can we do it on the grid? Yeah, we can do it on the grid. here. That's some odd spacing. Yeah, we'll get rid of that guy. Move this guy more towards the middle. And this guy here. This guy here. Unfortunately, we have some dark spots here. I'll take care of that later, but this is good for now. I'm going to try building lighting and seeing how that looks. Okay. So you might notice that when your shadows are built, they're looking kind of like this. I wouldn't worry about this too much because we're going to be replacing the brushes anyway. But if it really bothers you, you can select the brush face and it'll bring up a menu. And unlike static meshes where you raise the light map resolution to get better shadows, for brushes you actually have to lower them. So keep that in mind. Don't let that confuse you. So I'm going to lower these to a 16 for now, just to see how that looks. 16. And we're going to try rebuilding again. Can you guys hear me? Sorry about that. I guess I muted my mic. Not sure what you guys did and didn't hear. I didn't like how these lights were intersecting here, so I moved them back and rebuilt lighting. So now that looks a little more consistent, a little nicer. Now back here, this pretty nicely fills up the hallway, but back here, these lights are kind of making the area look a little bit dark, and I think that's okay for now. But I am going to come back over here and see if I can fill this up right here. Let's rotate that back around. Get that the same distance away from the wall. Put it about there. And about here. And this back area is looking a little dark, so I'm gonna put one here. And one here. Maybe raise them up just a little bit. I still feel like this room's coming out a little bit dark. Maybe I'm going to slightly raise the brightness of these lights here to compensate for that, as well as, actually before I do that, I'm going to raise our radius to 1280. Let's start with that. It's a little good. Probably even higher than that, maybe 2048. Maybe increase our fall off slightly. So that's pretty good. So now our room's fairly well lit. The other thing I recommend doing is never use. I mean, in general, for the same type of light, like let's say these are just spotlights, or your normal warehouse orange lights. You want to keep these the same color, but in a scene, you generally don't want to use the same colored light all the time. You want to try to bring in a different light, maybe something a little blue, and sort of mix them together in a very strategic way. So let's try that real quick. So maybe right here we got something interesting going on. Maybe we have a get to the chopper checkpoint here. And so we're going to try to bring in something a little more blue. Because blue and orange, they mix so well. Oops. So I'm going to increase that brightness a little bit, lower the cone size. Actually, let's decrease that fall off a little bit. Gonna bring that in there. And you get something a little more interesting going on, and it's something that kind of draws the eye to it as well. Or maybe you do something where the light's kind of on the floor for some reason, and you kind of come up and do something kind of like that. It's up to you, really. Just play around with it until you get something that you think looks good. So if you have a blue light that's here on the ceiling, you may notice that the spotlight's doing a good job at casting the light down. But if you had a spotlight on the ceiling, you'd probably be getting some blue light around the area too. And this is where your point lights come in. So I'm going to bring in a point light right here. And a point light casts light in 360 degrees. That's looking a little big. We're going to lower that radius to maybe 128. Kind of bring it up here. And see, that's how we can get some light sort of around the area. And we're also going to want to make sure the color matches. If you want to bring up two property windows at once, you can press this little lock button right here, and then double click on another one, and we've brought up a second window. So we're going to copy the light color over. Now they match. And it still looks a little weird because obviously our lights aren't here yet, but we're going to worry about that later. And I'm not going to care too much about these rooms. I'm not really going to use them too much, but just for the sake of having something else. So now that we're pretty happy with that, we're going to rebuild paths, actually before you rebuild lighting, rebuild BSP, then paths, and then lighting. Alright, good. Looks pretty good to me. We're going to jump in real quick. We're going to run around as the raptor. This feels pretty good. Ceilings might be a little tall for my liking, but we're going to have the T-Rexes in here, so... Oh, oops. Hang on. I need to lower that kill Z. Kill Z. Negative 2048. Actually, just negative 10,000, so we never see it again. Yep. Thermotone Mike did warn me, and I didn't listen. So this feels pretty good as a human going down the steps. These steps feel about right. Overall height feels a little too high, but we can make that work. Let's try the T-Rex. T-Rex feels pretty good. He doesn't clip through the doorways or anything. You're probably going to want to try it with the Spino too, because he's the biggest guy, but we're just going to worry about the T-Rex for now. Come down here. This all feels pretty good. Pretty happy with it. You're going to want to test it more thoroughly than this, of course, but for the sake of the stream. So I'm pretty happy with that. So now that you have all this, you're going to want to replace all of your stuff with static meshes. But before we do that, we're going to want to place some stuff around and just see what else we like. So let's take a look here. If we're deciding on this being a warehouse, we're probably going to want some cargo containers in here. So maybe we'll put one of these guys up against the wall here. Maybe a couple of them. Probably want a truck in here, so let's go to vehicle construction maybe. Let's see what we got in here. Vehicle general. Yeah, let's get one of these big trucks in here. Oh, did I say big trucks? Let's scale that up. Okay. Scale that up even more. Let's get one of the beds back on top of it. So now that I'm looking at this a little more and I'm deciding it's now a warehouse, you're probably going to want some garage doors like here, 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 and here, huh? That'd probably be pretty cool. So to prepare for that, I'm going to keep some of these trucks up against the wall as if they're coming in for freight. Backing in, because that's how you back in freight. Kind of put them up. Actually, maybe we'll put them between the lines. So we'll put them here and here and here. I just realized my beds are a little. Fix that real quick. Of course, we're going to want to put some cargo up on top of them too. So let's bring these guys up here. Scale that up just a little bit. Make that fit properly. Which means we're going to want to scale these guys up too. Put this guy right here. This guy right here. Maybe have another one up against the wall just to fill that up a little bit. I'm going to go into the storage package. Let's find some, let's see, we got this wood crate, got this wood crate, got my pallet. Because I forgot to do this before, I'm actually going to bring in a commando pawn, so we have something to compare to. Make sure we're not making things a little too big. And then also a Tyrannosaurus pawn. Cool. So then we can come over here, scale up that palette just a little bit. These boxes over. Cool. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, nice. Use this. Probably scale that guy up too. Put that over here. Just kind of fill some stuff in as much as we can. Let's see, what else can we throw in here? Actually, you know what? I'm going to go into my zoo map real quick. Let's see, zoo environment. I mean, Brian Oyster's right. I mean, you know, no one would design an environment with stairs like that. I was mostly just trying to show you guys the stair tool. I mean, when you're making a map, you're going to realize that something you were doing doesn't work, and so when we come in and replace it with static meshes, we'll just put a slope there instead. Let's see, what would look good? Oh, we could have some oil. We could have one of these guys. That would probably look pretty good. We got some garage doors. Yeah, let's use these guys. Yeah. Let's use both of these guys, actually. Let's see. Let's keep that guy right there. Actually, I guess we're not even going to see this side, so. Put it about right there. Same with this guy. Have these guys line up. About right there. This is another situation where it might be good to bust out the grid again. Make sure you're lining this stuff up properly. So about there and about there. Do it one more time. Over here. Okay, yeah, actually it's off the ground a little bit. So let's just raise that up. There we go. And I'll make the actual doorways later. So that looks pretty good. We'll probably want to do something to the ceiling later to make it so these doors don't look so weird. Maybe like add something going up to the ceiling, some girders or something. That looks pretty nice so far. Let's see those oil tankers. Where are those at? What do I call those? Tanks? Yeah, tanks. That's what it was. We're going to want one of these interior ones, like this guy. Maybe increase that to a 1.5. This guy like in the corner over here. Maybe even have two of them for fun. That's not bad. I'm not going to go too crazy on detailing this, just because we don't have a lot of time. But I'll add a couple wall details real quick. Let's see, wall detail interior. Oh, here we go. Some ceiling frames. So we'll increase that to 64. Bam, bam. Control Shift D to select all of them. Bring that out to here. And then that's looking a little high now, isn't it? Let's decrease that height by like 0.75. And then we'll have a bar running across here just to close off that. Just there we go. Cool. So that looks pretty nice. Although we've done that, though, we might want to lower our lights a little bit just so they're not actually. No, I'll leave them. See how that looks later. What other wall details we got here? Let's see, we got some vents. Yeah, vents, why not? Yeah, like right there. Bring that out a bit more. We'll have a cross one going like right here. Let's move that out a little bit, actually. All right there. Then we'll have this guy kind of, let's see, where's that intersecting on the corner? Here it is. Let this guy become a corner. And then rotate this guy out. And to lower my grid size for this one. Bring that out there, and then maybe have it corner off again just to look cool. And then have it finally go off. And we'll just have that go straight into the wall. So cool, now we have a quick little vent system going. Let's see. Yeah, we can add some wires, why not? Scale that way up. Yeah, cool. Got some wires going on there. Let's see, what else? Let's see, wall detail, exterior. What do we got in here? Oh, we got vents. Some wall vents. Yeah, those look pretty cool. So put some wall vents up here. After scaling them way up, of course. Some cool looking stuff on the walls there. Should scale them up even more than that. Let's see, how about some electrical boxes? Yeah, these are always nice. Let's add some electrical boxes here. Scale that down just a little bit so it's not poking over the wall there. She'll keep that at a 1 and lower the whole thing to an 0.9. Oops. Pretty good. Maybe one of these guys. Bring that out a little bit. Again, I'm not going to go too crazy. I think this is good for now. I might just add one more thing right here. How about an AC unit? There we go. Keep that about there. Cool. Another cool thing to do when you have an interior map like this, because Richard's made so many of them, is decals. He's made so many. So you can come in here and find all sorts of cool stuff. You'll probably want clutter papers, huh? Or is it, oh, clutter trash, that's what it is. So you can bring in some cool flat pieces like so. Kind of scatter that stuff around, make that look nice. Some garbage. Because what warehouse doesn't need garbage everywhere? I don't like that. Let's see. Get some scattered papers here. Put that closer to the walls over here, like under these pallets. Looks pretty nice. Cool, cool. Let's see, drainage, yeah, maybe we can put some drains in here. Warehouse, they have drains, right? Yeah, I think they do. Maybe this one. Or like manhole cover thing. Just a little bit of detail. So it looks pretty good. So now that we have that going, we can replace our BSP with static meshes. So we're going to do that. So let's start with the walls. And again, I like to use these meshes right here because they fit together so well. But we can also maybe use this guy because I've never really used him before. Some cool props in here. Let's see, scaffolding. Let's see, we want just the flat wall. Do we have a flat wall? Corridor wide. Oh wow, we don't. That's okay. Let's use this guy. And so now it's mostly a matter of just fitting your static meshes to your BSP. Let's go ahead and make that a 2. This is another one of those things that's probably a lot easier to do on the grid. So we're going to do this on the grid. And notice how this static mesh pretty much fits up perfectly with the grid, which is why I'm using it. And so very quickly, we can come through and replace our walls. Do the same on the other side. And around the corner. We're going to leave our opening for the garage doors. I'll figure that out later. Alright, let's see how that looks for now. Cool. So our doorways, we need to make that a little bit larger. An 8-unit grid. Oh, actually, not bigger. It'd be more like 1.01. There we go. Move that into there. Make that a little taller. There we go, now it looks like it'll actually fit them. Move these to match up with the walls a bit better. there's only one way to really do that. We're going to make these the exact size of our wall pieces, and that way we can make this perfect. Seven, 5, 3, 6, 3, 5, 3, 4. Okay, about there. So that was 1.34, so we want 1.34 and 1.34. And there we go. Looks so much nicer. So this one's going to be open. I'm going to leave it open, so I'm going to put that guy out a little bit. Put this guy here. Maybe just have the sort of the truck coming out there. This guy, we'll just leave pretty much where he is. Very nice. We're gonna probably want to select these and double them up. And then connect them here. Then we'll have a second mesh for here. Actually, no, we'll just move them down for now. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all of them and bring them down. There we go. Move that guy over. This guy, I will just leave him about where he is. We probably don't want people going outside these doorways, so let's find some clever ways to block those off. Up there. Move this guy here, and maybe have another one, and we'll rotate it around for some variation. I'll have this cargo container blocking here. And let's find another crate really quick. We'll use this guy. Not too big. Oops, forgot one. I'll use a pallet. I'll put a crate behind that just so that looks a little less awkward. Alright, so that looks pretty good. We have our walls. Let's do this. Let's start with the floor, actually. For the floor, you can pretty much just use the same mesh, actually. Just come in here and select. And then for our ceiling, we're just going to use our floor and texture it differently later. Here it is. I'm going to go into unlit mode so I can see this a little better. There we go. Oops. One more. And there we go. So I'm going to go in and find, okay, we don't need you anymore. And you I'm just going to bring back. Cool. So there we go, we've converted our BSP or brushes into static meshes. So now that we've done that, first let's get rid of this crap right here. Now we can texture it to something that looks a little nicer. Okay, so let's start with the floor. So we'll go to MI floors, see what we've got going on in here. Show you some cracked concrete. I'm actually not a big fan of this texture usually. Cracked paving floor. Metal studs. Tarmac? Maybe. That's not bad. Yeah, let's do tarmac. Actually, now the cool thing is because we've textured it, or because we set up the meshes in the way that we have, we can texture some of these areas a little bit differently. So let's do that. So we're going to select these here. We're going to add a very, very slight dip. Oops. Just put that to a 4 and lower it by 4 units. And let's select something else. How about metal studs, maybe? No. How about... I guess we could do asphalt. I hate this texture, though. No. Oh, no. 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 I'm gonna go back to the metal studs, but I'm gonna just tile that up real quick. Yeah, that ain't bad. And then over here we can do the same thing. So now we have a little bit of variation in our floor. It looks a little better. Might even want to come over here and do the same thing, actually. We'll lower it down by 4 units. Come in and texture that differently. So now our floor doesn't look so flat. Looks like we know what we're doing. Might even just finish off the whole thing there. Actually, never mind. I'll just leave it up like that. So now, the ceiling. Actually, I do the walls first. Let's see, walls, 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 walls. Let's see, so we got a two-parter here. Maybe we can go ahead and use that. We got the top and bottom, which, oh, oh, oh well. Maybe, actually it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, let's go ahead and use it. Just that line not lining up bothers me. But the grunge kind of does, so maybe we can just pretend that's on purpose. So just go ahead and tediously put that in there. So it looks pretty nice. Let's scale that one up too. Cool. Pretty cool. Looking interesting. For now I'm just gonna pretend these aren't stairs anymore, and we're just gonna remove these. And then maybe instead we'll, I don't know. Let's see. Primitives. Actually, what am I doing? I don't want to do that. Back to bunker. Uh, oh, that bugs me. Oh, that doesn't line up. Oh my god. My god. What have we done? My god. Well, that's okay. We're just going to pretend that never happened. It's the best thing to do in this business. So we're just going to pretend there's no ramp there and they get up by jumping. That's right. That's how they do it. You heard it here first, folks. Let's see how I do that here. Oh. Did my mic go off? Can you guys still hear me? Hello? Hello? Okay, good. Da-da-da. Feel the rain on your arm. No one else can do it for you. No one else. No one else. Release your inhibitions. Cool. Alright, so I'm not going to worry about all that crap back there. We're just going to worry about this part for now. So we have our main warehouse. Going to get rid of these guys. Going to build lighting to see how it looks so far. Cool. Looks kind of weird. That's okay. Let's see. Let's select all these spotlight actors and just unselect the guys we want. I know she lets me down for just a short while, then she changes her mind. Let's go ahead and lower these guys down a bit. Hmm. I don't know, it's just not doing it for me. Well, that doesn't help, huh? Let's see what we can do here. First off, this is totally not touching the wall, and that's like totally not cool, bro. So, gonna move that in there. It looks like our walls are. If you look at the resolution there, that's looking a little grainy. So we're gonna select all these, and we're gonna up that to 128. Let's see, what else can we do? Oh, I know. Yeah, this will be cool. Let's get some sun in here. I'm gonna add my sky sphere back from midday. Gonna release my inhibitions here. Oops. Alright, there's my sky. Gonna find my son. My long lost son. Come to daddy. And let's get rid of my builder brush. Let's bring in the sun. Yeah, kind of like that there. Something a little like that. Yeah, look at them God rays. Yeah. Yeah, you encode those light maps. That's looking a little cooler. Getting some of that outside sunlight. It's looking a little weird though. I think I made the I need to modify that a little more. In general, I just kind of hate the lighting in here, man. Like, it's just not doing it for me. I don't know what it is. Where's that blue light? Yeah, let's get you out of here. What is going on? Why does this look bad? Who am I? Let's see, I'm digging the sunlight. That's about it. You know what? I'm just going to delete all of my spotlights. I just don't like it. Sometimes when something's not working for you, you just gotta destroy all of it, you know? You gotta release your inhibitions. We're gonna rotate this around a little bit. Just a little bit down. Rebuild lighting yet again. Oh god, what happened? I like that though. I think we've released our inhibitions pretty well here. I don't know what you guys think. Let me rebuild that BSP. Alright. So we got some light leaking through here. Let's turn off the fog. First off, the brushes are throwing me off like crazy, so let me just destroy them a little bit. Alright, let's just go ahead and I'm just going to do it this way. Brush, meet delete key. Alright. Okay, how do I want to go about this? Alright, so now the brushes are exterminated. Let's see, what do I want? What do I want? Maybe, let's start by getting a spotlight in here and see what we can do with it. Spotlight components, 70 and 50. Increase that radius to 1280. Yeah, okay. Let's see, brightness, maybe like 3. I still don't like them touching the floor here. But let's do it anyway. So I'm going to go to my lights package. We're going to use these overhead fluorescent lights, wherever they are. I think I got it fully loaded. Oh, it is fully loaded. Ah, here it is. Long light. But we want the on version. So we'll bring you in. We're going to scale you up a little bit. Who's calling me? Oh, I don't care. 2.5. Light semi. Good. Where's the long one? There it is. Long light 2 lit. There we are. So now we got our lids light. Bring this down. Up and around. Okay. See how this is starting to look here. My computer is lagging like crazy. One moment. build lighting real quick while I do this thing over here. Ah, oh god. Ah, okay. Well, it's already looking like crap, I can tell, so let me change this before building lighting. Let's increase that fall off. It's like an 8. 6. Yeah, it's not too bad. Alright, build lighting. Okay, that looks not too bad. So, now let's get a point light in there. I'm going to lower that point light's radius way down. Something kind of like that. Disable cast shadows. Actually, re-enable cast shadows. Increase the brightness. Actually, don't increase the brightness. 512. There we go. Can simulate some light bounce there. And I'm thinking that's looking a little too bright for the light bounce. I'm going to re-enable that and lower it to an 0.5. There we go. And then actually I'm going to delete every other one. And then I'm going to try something kind of interesting. I'm going to copy it from another map actually. I'm going to go to docs real quick. Ah, I love this map, it's beautiful. that one. That's a little strong. That's a little better. I think I want even dimmer than that, though. Too bright. There we go. So what I've done here is I've created this cone, which has a very special material on it that kind of creates this sort of fake volumetric light. It's a very useful thing. Really makes your map look pretty. So I'm going to copy those. Alright. Let's rebuild lighting again. Okay, so I think we have some nice lighting going for the general interior here. So now we're just going to do these orange wall lights again. So I think we're going to go with a little less of a dominant orange this time. Something kind of a little more like that. With a slightly smaller cone than that. Oops. I'm going to go back to my lights package. I'm going to use this floodlight. Scale that up to like a 2. Maybe lower it by like half. Or 0.75. Good. Soft shadow only. Actually, disable soft shadow only. Just gonna have something kind of interesting like that going on. We'll put one here, up, one there, one about here, a couple over here on these walls. There, one over here, one over here, one over here. Cool. I'm still not quite happy with it, but I want to kind of end off on this part, and this is kind of a tangent doing lighting anyway. This one's not really about lighting. So I'm just going to show you one final thing before I move on to get to the chopper after I rebuild lighting. Okay. Again, I'm really unhappy with this. Honestly, I don't think this lighting's very good. But my stream or my computer's lagging like crazy because of the stream, and I don't have a lot of time. Lighting can take a very long time to perfect. You just have to sit there and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it until it finally looks right, and I just don't have that kind of time right now. But the final thing I'll show you, which is something that can really make your lighting look a lot better, is lens flares. So let's Michael Bay it up here. So let's see, here's our lens flares package. Probably going to want one of these fluorescent lights. Let's see what we got. Now there's a lot of different lens flares, and different ones might work right for your lighting system, but you can probably find one in here that'll work for you. You just got to play around with it a little bit. And so we add that right there, and it really does a good job at simulating your light being lit, and just adds a nice little bit of extra flare to your scene. No pun intended. And you just add them up there like so, right below your light. And that, combined with your volumetric mesh, can really give you a really nice, pretty looking light in your scene. And I think that part turned out nice. The orange lights is probably what I'm not happy with, but maybe if we add a lens flare to them too, I'll be a little happier. Let's see, orange light, orange light, orange light. Oh, so many lens flares. Orange lights. It looks a little nicer. It's not really doing it for me. Which one did I use in docs? Let me find that one. Yeah, it's all right. I think just the way I set up the spotlights is what I'm not really happy with, but at any rate, that's a nice way to get something that looks pretty nice. Now that that's all done, I'm going to add in a spawn point. PC player. What? Oh, right. I'll move this guy over here. Alright, so yeah, we've covered how to create an environment out of brushes. We covered how to paint those brushes, how to subtract those brushes, how to change the light map resolution on those brushes, as well as how to replace those brushes with static meshes, and a nice way of doing that, staying on the grid, using the grid, that sort of thing. So now what I'm going to do is cover the get to the chopper stuff, which is what you've all probably been waiting for. I'm going to restart my editor because it's lagging like crazy, and I think I'm also going to lower the broadcast settings for video to 1280 by 720 so it doesn't lag me like crazy, and it's hopefully better for you guys. So I'm going to stop the stream and then re-record the stream to make that work. So be right back.